Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in Heidelberg, Germany, and wondering how the Loquat season is gonna be this year. Which is a very strange thing because until last year there wasn't such a thing as a Loquat season in Germany. I'm here at the banks of the Neckar River, right opposite the famous Heidelberg Castle, the most beautiful ruin in the world according to the people of Heidelberg. And here there are a couple Loquat shrubs. Why are they shrubs? They used to be trees, but there was a very harsh winter about 7 years ago. They froze back to the ground. The gardeners didn't remove the roots, and so they came back as shrubs. Well, and why was there no Loquat season until last year? Well, I think you can guess. If the trees are freezing back every couple years, flowering and fruiting might be quite a problem, because Loquats usually flower in late autumn or in winter. Here mostly around Christmas. Actually in the 90s we had this peculiar weather phenomenon where we had a lot of frost in November, basically a frost-free winter where you could see a couple Loquats in botanic gardens flowering, and then in spring the young fruit would be destroyed. Well, and there was actually only 1 year about 10 years ago when a couple Loquat trees had a few fruit. You couldn't even call it a fruit season, a Loquat season. And then last year, again, we had quite a mild winter, but we had already a lot more Loquat trees growing in Heidelberg, some of them quite big and established. And we had a very good Loquat season. The only tree which had fruit in previous years, I tend to call it the super Loquat. It had like something between 80 and 130 kilograms of giant fruit last year, but even normal Loquat trees had at least a couple handfuls or a bag or two. Well, I was today at the super Loquat and it didn't look so good. I saw only one young fruit and lots of frozen inflorescences. The owners told me that it's flowering earlier than most other Loquat trees, so it might have gotten some of the harsher frosts. Also, that tree was covered with old dried up fruit, even much bigger ones than those. I don't know what that means. They must have survived for many months, or was there maybe a second generation I didn't notice? But basically we cannot expect too much fruit-wise from the super Loquat tree this year. This here, however, is the other really amazing Loquat I know here in Heidelberg. Why is it amazing? Well, last year it had a lot of fruit, and then in November suddenly I found about 25 young seedlings here, already half woody and basically already fit to survive the winter. And then the gardeners removed them all without any exception. Even here under this flower, not a single one survived. Well, I mean, having Loquat seedlings in Germany is quite an amazing thing. I've seen only one seedling in front of a Turkish restaurant once, where probably some of the Turkish people bought them in a Turkish supermarket, the only supermarkets commonly selling Loquats in Germany, and then spit out the seed, and the plant grew, which grew there for like 3 or 4 years. But this was the only instant I've seen a Loquat seedling growing in Germany. And here under this one there were like 20, 25. We could have had a small Loquat forest here if the gardeners hadn't removed them. So that's why this quite small Loquat shrub is really amazing for me. It is growing in kind of some special conditions. There is the Neckar River here, which serves as a basically as an air conditioner. It cools down the area a little bit in summer and keeps it quite warm in winter. Then there is this wall behind the plants, which reflects the sun and protects them from the harsh northern winds. That's why here there is some Mediterranean subtropical garden the gardeners of Heidelberg planted. And then behind this wall there is quite a tall hill which also protects the plants from harsh winds because it's on the northern side. And also there is like a bend in the river which protects them from the harsh eastern winds. And of course they are inside the city where the temperatures are generally quite higher and the humidity is lower than outside. Yeah, and this shrub produced a lot of seedlings last year. This year it looks quite good. Look at that, lots of young fruit. I guess it must have flowered at a better time than the super loquat tree because this year it will be a lot more successful if nothing happens. I mean, there could still be some harsh frosts towards the end of March. We will get frosts in the next days. Now I'm in a t-shirt and shorts. It's quite warm, but starting tomorrow it's gonna get cold. But the frosts are supposed to be mild, not harsh enough to destroy loquat fruit. And here there are lots of well-established loquat fruit. Let's look at another tree here. This one, not so special. Produced a lot of fruit last year, but no seedlings. And as you can see, it must have flowered at a less favorable time because those inflorescences are completely frozen and dried up. Not all of them. Look, this inflorescence here is completely dried. That means it's frozen. However, this one here, the peduncle is still nice and fresh, and I don't know, this must have finished flowering just weeks or even days ago, so there are still remnants of the petals, not just the sepals. So it flowered in early spring, so I guess this one has some chance to produce fruit. Well, here we have one which flowered earlier and it has some young fruit. Here another one, but as you can see, most inflorescences are completely destroyed. Here is one which flowered recently, which might have a chance. But here is another one which froze. So let's see. If we count here, we have 1, 2 good ones and 1, 2 which might be good, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inflorescences in the same area, which definitely will not produce any fruit this year. Let's see, maybe we can find some late flowers somewhere. I don't think so. We are towards the end of March. The flowers are really beautiful and they have a nectar which is really, really tasty and really plentiful. I was surprised that the plant would produce so much nectar in the middle of winter. But yeah, here you have the comparison between 3 different loquat trees. The super loquat, which I think part of its success is that it flowers at a different time than the other loquats, but this time it got unlucky, or maybe it has some sort of a gap here because last year it produced so much fruit. Then this quite average loquat, which didn't produce any seedlings, produced a lot of fruit last year but no seedlings. And this year it will produce a little bit of fruit. And then this quite little shrub here, about 2.5 meters high, which produced a ton of fruit and a ton of seedlings last year. Maybe the only recorded loquat tree in Germany to ever produce seedlings. And this year it seems like it's gonna have, again, quite a number of fruit. And I guess they're gonna be quite early because look around. The peach almonds, which are bred specifically to flower very early, are just finishing flowering at this exposed location, but at other places they are just starting. The cherries, yes, sometimes they are flowering, but in some places they are just starting. The bitter oranges are just starting, but this stuff already has fruit the size of cherries. So I think at sometime around May we can be back here for another German loquat, well, not German medlar, but Germany loquat fruit season, and maybe in November even for the harvesting of some nice seedlings before the gardeners remove them. So folks, those were some observations and predictions on this year's loquat season in Germany. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful city of Heidelberg. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.